Hello, folks. Ready for another round of the Daily Minute, coming from an undisclosed location. Tuesday, let's update you on what's going on around the world. Let's start with India. And talking with the folks there this morning, flights are starting to pick back up again with some restrictions. So there are restrictions on some of the flights. But at least air travel is back in progress, and so people are able to start doing some business. Trains are slated to start on June 1, so overall starting to move things forward. And each state has slightly different policies, not that much different than here, that they're trying to work on, and they're kind of looking at what industries are being least impacted up to being maximum impacted, and then trying to adjust their government policies to then match that. So as far as support, being able to support the different industries based on where they're at. Circling over to Europe. In Europe right now, they're moving into largely phase 4, out of phase 3 and into phase 4. And again, it does vary by different country. So recently, Austria, Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic have actually all opened up their border crossing between that set of countries. And so the Habsburgs are all happy that got things back opened up again amongst themselves. And so it's making commerce a little bit more easy. And that's starting to, as groups then are starting looking at, we talked about France, Germany, and Spain doing a little bit of that before. You start to get a little bit more of this happening country and set by set as things go on. Also, take a look at overall focus economically. So economic areas that are really starting to improve, auto industry moving into higher levels of production, schools actually starting to open back up again as well. Again, depends on country, but especially for younger students, recognizing that parents are having a difficult time educating and being able to go to work, starting to open up more and more schools. So interesting to see what's happening there. Some of the things that are happening back to that auto industry relative to Europe is, as they're getting things going, they're having, some issues that are starting to components that you need, but also while we're finally starting to get their manufacturing going, the consumer demand is still light. And so as the engine starts really going and moving forward, the unfortunate situation is there's not enough pull that's actually going to keep those factories at full pace. So hopefully the consumer part will catch up pretty quickly. China's got a real push going on 5G, pulling out all the stops, getting 5G out, really moving production up. They got 10,000 base stations that they're talking about producing per week. And they're thinking about scaling that up even more. So they're really betting on the impact of that for industry and pushing 5G heavily. One of the industry things that we were talking a little bit about this morning is what's going on with Tesla in Shanghai. Tesla has got the largest foreign automotive investment going into China. So they've got a $5 billion investment going into China, Shanghai. And the interesting thing about that, it's the first 100% wholly owned. And so this is not typically everyone else that was going in there had to do these joint ventures. There's all these IP issues that were concerns. And this is a wholly owned Tesla facility that's going in. And they're initially coming out of the blocks doing 3,000 cars per year. Per year, is it? No, per month, excuse me, per month, obviously. And they're scaling it up to 4,000 per month. And, so that's a reasonably quick, and the quickness of it started actually when they opened the plant. So from the time that they put the shovel in the ground to making their first car, 11 months. So you can tell they had a lot of government backing if they were going to be pulling that off. So pretty good for Tesla. And their new Tesla Y, the SUV version, is going to be rolling out of that factory again next year as well. Skipping over to Mexico, things are continuing to still move forward there. A little bit of bumpy starts like we're seeing other places with supply chain. The last 30 days, if you take a look at currency, the peso is up 7%. So some really encouraging economic news for those guys. And they're seeing some benefits happening from nearshoring, onshoring, reshoring, and for them nearshoring. So they've got a lot of good pull coming into the manufacturing area, which is positive. And the things are not quite as positive when we go a little bit further south to Brazil. A lot more cases pop up in Sao Paulo, political issues, currency issues. So things are not looking that great in Brazil right now. So, and they're even talking about possibly a full lockdown there. So that's a little bit around the world, quickly done in a little while. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing for you, give you a little bit of perspective. I'll be back on tomorrow with a little bit more information hopefully you can use. Thanks for joining.